For the first time ever here on 3 Up, 3 Down, we are going to talk about news that has broken today. I mean, yesterday or tomorrow, depending on when you're watching. 3 big stories in Major League Baseball. Let's go. We're going to start with the first story of the day is the call-up of second base, shortstop, third base, infielder Elly De La Cruz to the Cincinnati Reds. Elly De La Cruz is one of the top prospects in baseball, and this is the reason why the Reds tore it down a few years ago just to try and build it back up. They've been playing pretty well. They've got a lot of young guys. Spencer Steer, Matt McLean, Nick Lodolo, Hunter Green, Andrew Albert is up now. The possibility of Elly De La Cruz coming up and joining them. There's still Noelvi Marte, Christian Encarnacion Strand. The Reds are really building for the future, and there is no more exciting player than De La Cruz. When you take a look at Elly De La Cruz's numbers, putting up in AAA this year, the 21-year-old, 6'5", 200-pounder, absolutely mashes the baseball. In 38 games, he's got 12 home runs and 36 RBIs, 11 steals, 6 caught stealing, 298 batting average, 398 on base. All that put together is a 1,031 OPS. And he is a very similar profile to prospect O'Neal Cruz of the Pittsburgh Pirates. They both absolutely can rocket the baseball. Cruz has a big arm. De La Cruz has a big arm. These are going to be two very special talents. And the Reds have been playing kind of decent lately. They're kind of making, I want to say, noise in the National League Central. But nobody's going to run away with the National League Central this year. And if these young talents in Cincinnati can start to put it together this year, this might be a team that starts to push towards the playoffs. Not necessarily this year, but maybe a jump like the Baltimore Orioles have, and we've seen there. The National League Central has a ton of young talent coming, and Elly De La Cruz is one of the biggest ones in that division. The Cincinnati Reds and their fans now have something to talk about. Huge news in Cincinnati. The second big news story of the day is coming out of Toronto, and that sees former ace from last year, Alek Manoa, being sent down to the minor leagues to the Florida Complex League. Now, Manoa has had a horrific season. He leads Major League Baseball in walks. His mechanics seem to be blown up. This is the right move for the Toronto Blue Jays. In fact, it's surprising it took this long to make this move, but part of the reason is the Jays simply do not have any depth at starting rotation. They will be the last team that has to go to their 6th starter for this season, and we're really not even sure who that's going to be. Manoa's spot comes up again this Saturday against the Minnesota Twins. Bowden Francis' contract has been brought up from AAA. He's a young guy who can give them some length, probably out of the bullpen. I would expect kind of an opener this Saturday for the Jays. Maybe a Trevor Richards, maybe a Nate Pearson, someone who can give him a few innings. Maybe even Adam Simber fits into that. Now, the issue for the Jays becomes they simply have no depth in terms of starting pitching. Kevin Gausman becomes even more important because if you're following a bullpen day like Gausman would, if the schedule stays for the starters as is, Gausman would pitch Sunday and we expected to cover a lot of innings after exhausting the bullpen on the Saturday. When it comes to Manoa, for me, I don't know if it's mechanics or just his head. I know there seems to be Buck Martinez and Dan Shulman in the broadcast seem to be talking about maybe a confidence issue there. For me, I see a lot of mechanical issues kind of coming out with Manoa. His arm seems to be dragging a bit, and to effectively throw his slider, he seems to be yanking the arm to really try and catch up, and that's yanking it out of the strike zone where his slider just is not anywhere near the zone. And I'm getting really tired of watching Manoa turn around and kick the dirt on the mound. It's not the dirt's fault. It's your fault. That's coming from a guy who's kicked a lot of dirt on a lot of mounds. Now, Manoa needs to put this together. They're making a lot of comparisons to Roy Halladay back in the day when he went through this. I'm not sure we're expecting the same type of thing. Manoa needs to check his ego, and one of the big things he's had an issue with is the new pitch clock. He was one of the worst defenders last year in time between pitches. He really hasn't seemed to adjust this year. He needs to make this adjustment along with the mechanics. We've seen teams take advantage of him. The Rays stole 7 bases off him because they figured out he was going to wait right to the end of the pitch clock. Manoa needs to find it soon, or the Blue Jays could be in trouble in their rotation. The third biggest story for today, and for me the biggest of the three, is the news that Jacob DeGrom has been shut down for at least a season to go through his second Tommy John surgery in his career. He went through Tommy John surgery in his first season in the big leagues. Now he's going through the procedure again. Jacob DeGrom is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball when healthy. He just hasn't been healthy for 3 or 4 years now. So this is a huge blow to the Texas Rangers, but one that I think a lot of people expected. The 5-year, $185 million contract that DeGrom signed in the offseason was questioned by a lot of people, including myself. It did not make sense for me. But Texas has had a wonderful start to the season. They've got a lot of good starting pitching. The question is, can that starting pitching stay healthy? Nathan Eovaldi has been terrific. Andrew Heaney and Martin Perez have been good. John Gray has been good. And the other guy to look for is Dane Dunning to move into that rotation full-time. Dunning has had a lot of good games. Kind of been a swing guy back and forth, but had a lot of good starts for Texas this year. The offense has been fantastic. I don't think the Rangers can let this season get away from them. Their offense is so good, they need to go out and acquire some more pitching. And where I think they need to add is going to be in the bullpen. Dunning has been so good for them, but moving him out of the bullpen and into the rotation full time means they're going to need some depth in that bullpen. And in terms of DeGrom, I think the one area this could really fit is a year from now, 14 months from now, as we settle into July and August of 2024. If I'm the Texas Rangers, I am not rushing Jacob DeGrom back as a starter. But how about Jacob DeGrom as a relief pitcher towards the latter half of next season? He could be a dynamic arm coming out of the bullpen if you prepared him as a relief role. We've seen this done in the past. The St. Louis Cardinals did it very effectively with Adam Wainwright back when he went through these type of arm injuries. I think Jacob DeGrom as a reliever at the end of 2024, if Texas is in contention, and with their offense, I would expect them to be in contention, he would be such a dynamic arm in that bullpen, and then you could really prepare him for 2025 and a potential return to the starting rotation. You're paying him all that money to start, but 2024 might be the perfect opportunity to see what he can do as a reliever, maybe a shutdown closer at the back end of that bullpen. Ooh, that would be a serious weapon coming 2024 playoffs. But for this year, we know Jacob DeGrom has been shut down and will not be back for the Rangers this season. I really hope you like this type of video. It's not one I can make very often in terms of getting the news out of the day until I get a few days off here. But I really hope you hit that subscribe button. You guys have been killing it on the channel. If you're into this kind of content, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the video and share it out with all your baseball friends. We have surpassed 200 subscribers on the channel. Let's make the big push for the next one of hitting 300 subscribers right here on 3 Out 3 Down. As always, go check out your mobile device. I'm getting better and better at making content in terms of the community tab. Another great way to interact with me. I comment back to everybody who comments here on 3 Up 3 Down. So I hope you really enjoy these videos. So take care. We'll see you next time.